Hi there, welcome to FMCG by Alex. Today I would like to talk to you about full service merchandising and how it can propel your brand to great success. So, how does it work? I've used it many times in my professional career, both as an entrepreneur and as part of a company. In essence, it's space management. So, you get a specific space in a store to display your products, and you are also responsible for managing that. So, it's in essence a replenishment of this space. You organize it, you display it, you decide how to arrange the products, and every single time you visit, you see what's sold and you replenish. So, replace whatever is sold. So, in the end, this gives you a very optimum sort of sales delivery and merchandising solution in one. And the visits are periodical, so it's not like normally where a store would say, "Oh, I'm out of stock," or "I'm almost out of stock. Can you raise this PO? I need of more stock." You come regardless of the whether or not they raise a PO. So they normally don't raise a PO anymore when they have this full service merchandising system in place. You are responsible for everything. So my experience so far has been with beverages. It has been with non-food. So video games when they were still sold on CD-ROM. In essence, these were partly also consignment models, but I've also had the model with just firm sale. So where there's sell or return type of things where only expired products would have been taken back or damaged products, but in essence, it's a firm sale. You deliver and you actually get paid at the end of the month. So that is more or less the way full service merchandising can work. It's various models that come into play. Now, one of the things that I need to point out is that it's a very regional thing. So rack jobbing or full service merchandising is more common in places where labor is more expensive. So you have maybe the US or Europe, where full service merchandising is more a thing. There are, let's say Asia, maybe Africa, maybe where the cost of labor is less, you will have less of a need to unify all of these things in one. So, in essence, there would be a separate salesman, there would be a separate delivery person, and normally a separate sales promoter or sales promotion girl, sales promotion boy who would do the merchandising, take the stuff out of the boxes and put it on the shelf and make sure it's displayed properly. So, these are region specific, or at least geographically specific. In Europe, like I said, it's very common to do this. You have also, from the retailer side, they don't want to, if they can save something on manpower, of this supplier who comes in and does it for me, they are more inclined to let you do this. The downside, of course, might be that your costs go up, but I'll go into the advantages and disadvantages later. In countries like Indonesia, where I've worked, for example, where theoretically it could also apply. It's just that trust is a big thing. So it's we've never done this before. There's too many people involved. If you have a salesman coming in into the store and without any of the safety mechanisms they have in place to check the other guy, that check the other guy, salesman can actually write his own order, bill whatever. Now, yeah, that is something that fraud, it's fraud sensitive basically. So this is the reason why you will not find as much of this in, let's say, Indonesia, but maybe more in the Netherlands. Another example might be that there are products that are very difficult in supply chain. So in Indonesia, the one example I've seen is a RTD yogurt product. So they had a yogurt drink that simply, from a supply chain perspective, they were selling it to mini markets, like so small convenience stores. And it was a perfect product for convenience stores, but the supply chain of the convenience store company, which normally they would collect everything into a distribution center and then distribute it to each store. The problem was that maybe the expiry date plus the sensitivity of the product towards it has access to cold, so it has to be refrigerated at all times. If you leave that to people who are not employed by the company or don't care, in essence, like unskilled labor, which quite common in large retail companies, especially in Asia, where it's in essence a lot of good people, but also of course a lot of people who just see it as, okay, this is not my dream my dream job. Um, in essence, this is one of the reasons why you would also be able to go for that sort of product. So the number of links in the supply chain would be cut down to just a guy with the van delivering it to the store, putting it on the shelf, and then signing off, this is received, and yes, it was really 7 pieces instead of just one or 14. So in essence, this is one of the reasons that I identified as the necessity to do full service merchandising. Like I said, this was one of I think, the very rare examples that I've seen it in Indonesia. Regardless of yeah, basically the cost, this is was a necessity because of the sensitivity of the product. More hands, more damages. Maybe the product wouldn't be treated, and therefore the customer would get yogurt, which was not good anymore to drink. So it's very dangerous. Also, people can get sick. So I'm a big proponent of this system. So I have more advantages than disadvantages in my mind, but let me run you through both. The advantages basically are that you ensure that the shelf is always tidy and full. So you come there, you completely make sure that everything is, neat and tidy. You can, in some cases, have products that are gathering dust, depending a little bit on the store or the cleanliness of the store. So we've had, for example, with beverages and beer in the Netherlands, that dust would accumulate on the top. Now you would be able to wipe it off and clean the product. It's a very labor-intensive thing, but proper product presentation. If you have product that is literally, the saying says, gathering dust in the store, it is not an inviting sight to make a purchase. That is actually the reason why part of it is also a bit of cleaning, and cleaning of the shelf, cleaning of the product, making sure everything is shiny, everything is good, basically. Um, a half full display has a effect that it looks a bit messy. On the other hand, a half full display can also sometimes mean, oh, this product is very in very much high demand. So there are, the truth here is somewhere in the middle, where you need to see the moment where if a full display, it's a Saturday, everybody shopping, then a full display definitely is a good idea. Maybe weekdays, a half full display might not be a bad idea, just to give the impression, oh, it's actually moving. Especially working with independent retailers, they don't know every single product in their store. So the perception sometimes is that these guys, from these guys, that the product is not moving as fast as it really is, until they pull up a data sheet from their system. They have no clue whether your product is selling, and if they, the impression is that they walk past a full display several times. Oh, this is not moving. And on the other hand, if they walk past a half empty display, it's like, oh, you're not doing your job right, because this thing is half empty. I've had the example myself that I think I've even, to some extent, I did a lot of the merchandising myself in the Netherlands, because, again, labor expensive here. That I was even on my way back from a retailer where I personally merchandised the product, and the guy called me, "Hey, your display is almost empty." So I think, okay, that's fast, and that was literally on a Saturday, where the product was moving apparently so fast that I had to again fill up my my car and go there to replenish for the second time. Otherwise, they would have been out of stock by Monday. So this is one of the things that you know comes into play. The one issue you might have is that when you do this, stores are not inclined to take buffer stock, so that might be a disadvantage. But I'm mentioning it here basically on the fly. So everything that you put on the shelf is the stock in the store. If there's really a very fast-moving item where they say, depending on the relationship you have with the outlet, with the retailer, okay, just put an extra box of the fast-moving item that is out of stock after 2 days, then they might replenish it themselves. But usually this system comes down to, oh, you do it, so therefore my people don't touch it anymore. At least in the Netherlands, it's like that. Now, you have more accurate data on what sells and what doesn't. So in essence, more of a view. So you can play around a bit. So normally when we would set up a complete display, you would have, let's say, two facings of each product. And at some point you can play around with it because you see, oh, some products maybe are moving faster. Therefore you can expand it to maybe three, four facings, while products that had two facings and still there, yeah, then maybe you can reduce it to one facing as soon as the sales are out, and you might not need to replenish it that quickly. So there are, you have real-time data rather than you supply POs, and at the end of the month you have to have someone to analyze it basically, and all these things are, yeah, a big advantage for companies that rely on this sort of thing. I've, like I said, I'm a very big proponent of this system, mainly because it helped me really build a brand from scratch. You had a very close relationship with the retailer. You knew every decision maker in the company. You would have, good relationship with the store staff, which also would help you, if indeed in one cases their fast moving item is out of stock, they would maybe grab the extra box from the back stock room basically, and put it on the shelf for you. Yeah, it's something that they will inform you also what's happening in the market. So in essence, it's you're very close to your market in essence, and you see directly what consumers do. If you are like a small brand and you, the owner yourself, you are still doing some of the merchandising. It's also very cool to say, oh, I put the product on the shelf, and right away someone is behind you to take it out, and then hey, this is my product that is selling right away. So that is just a cool thing that I personally always enjoyed, and you could tell something about the product and all these things. But I mean, the main purpose is full shelves and tidy displays. So regular reorders. So in essence, you're not depending anymore on this PO. That's like I think mentioned in the previous slide, that you have a yeah, you're not depending on someone waking up or making around, hey, the product is gone, let's open a PO, or you have to call yourself, do you still have stock? That sort of stuff. If actually this regular reorders you come in a regular rotation, then yeah, this is actually not a big problem anymore, because you decide when the PO is there. It's just, yeah, what fits on the shelf is usually the norm for how much you can supply. Having said that, one of the challenges might be if you're working for a larger company, or larger company that has a problem with, okay, I need to sell it in a carton, meaning per 12, per 24, or whatever quantity the carton contains, can be 20, can be 10. Um, that might be an issue. So, oh, the minimum purchase order for this store is 10. No, then might only fit two in the shelf. That's the problem with this system, that you only replenish two. So it is very wise, especially if you're a small brand, that you adapt your minimum order size to per piece. So I can replenish one, I can replenish two. You will sell much more that way. It is more work because you have to pick and pack a lot of mixed boxes. I've also had sometimes that, yeah, you had a bit of a problem getting the right mix together, because your car is not made of elastic. Cannot bring everything, but mostly this gives you the advantage. And of course, also you can choose, oh, this product is out of stock. I don't have stock in my warehouse anymore. Therefore, I just expand the other SKU, which is moving a little bit faster. A bigger display usually also leads to a little bit bigger sales in theory. And yeah, then you have an opportunity to broaden that and say, oh, temporarily this one doesn't have any display at all because it's out of stock, rather than a very ugly empty spot on the shelf. So it has a lot of advantages. Like I said, it's also got some disadvantages, which I'll go into in a moment. Um, and of course, when you do new product introductions, of course you have national chains that need listing process. Like, as soon as the product is activated, you can also merchandise it in that mix. If it's an independent retailer, normally it's a matter of, hey, can I also supply this? Or they can just add the product in the system directly. Normally these can be done manually. Then it's very fast to say, oh, okay, we have this week we're launching it, and then in this cycle, like 2 week cycle that you are visiting all of the stores, your salespeople are visiting all of the stores, then you can roll it out. So in that sense, I thought also the flexibility is quite nice, rather than introducing the product to the retailer, waiting for a PO, delivering the PO, and then waiting for them to put it on the shelf. You can time promotions better if you right away do an introduction promotion, and that's basically it. Plus, promotions for near expired products. That's something I nearly forgot. But like I mentioned, you have usually a system where either it's consignment or sell or return. No one is fixed sales. That is something nobody does in this day and age anymore. Everything is returnable. But sell or return meaning if it's expired or close to expiry, you can monitor it. So that is one of the things that you need to really do when you are doing full service merchandising. Full service merchandising is checking the expiry date on the product as well, cleaning it, etc., making it neat. But if you see, hey, this product is actually moving a bit slower, maybe this needs a specific promotion. Now, locally, if it's an independent retailer, you can do that. If you notice the trend inside, your salespeople are reporting back to you, hey, this variety is not moving very fast, and the expiry date is nearing a critical point, then you can agree with the buyer, let's do a promotion to flush out this stock, or to get some more people to try it, and hopefully get the average sales above a certain level, that this problem is alleviated. So that's something that also I really liked about this system. It gives you a lot of flexibility in this case, and a lot of I would say more grip on what you're doing, especially when you are building a brand. This is, part of the store is yours, and you more or less manage that for them. I'll go into to the disadvantages in a moment. So right off the bat, it of course, all this is extra handling, so it can be quite expensive, or relatively expensive, not quite expensive, relatively expensive to do this for every store. You spend a lot of time. You need to pay people to do this. So if you have a low cost solution that's possible, you need to count your own time as well. If you're doing it alone, if you're starting your brand by yourself or with your wife or whatever, then that is something that is quite manageable. But in the end, every single hour or every single minute you spend inside a supermarket, inside a retail outlet, that you need to handle the product. So every time is handling is of course a cost. Now that quickly racks up. Plus, bringing stock, picking, packing, like you need to really get the mix ready. So, I estimate that this retailer needs this. So, normally these smaller retailers, they don't have a very strong system that supports. So, can you tell me in advance what is needed? I used to have when you have a good relationship, that's why I said like good relationship is very important. But that you have some of the people you're friends with in the store, they will send you pictures of the shelf. So look, this is what it looks like. Can you do you know more or less what you need to bring? Usually these are favors that you can't really put any demands on. It's already very nice of them to do that. So I, hereby, anyone's watching who used to do it for me, thank you so much. But I mean, this is one of the examples where you can't rely on it. So sometimes you just have to estimate, okay, I'm bringing something of everything in my assortment, especially if you are selling a concept rather than a individual products, that you need to make sure that when you go from there, that at least that shelf looks clean and tidy, so it's filled. And that is one of the things that it's a challenge. And like I said, every time you need to add more manpower to do something, it adds a cost. So more stores also is more time, more kilometers. Not if you spend maybe an hour in every store doing that, how many stores per day can you do per person? So these people need to be paid. The petrol needs to be paid for as well. That's basically one of the things. One of the things we occasionally came across, like you have people you like, and you have people you get along with in life, and some of the people you get along with in life, these are I would say the abrasive personality. So what I've noticed so far is every city, I guess, has stores, or every market has stores where the owner is a bit eccentric, or there is just someone inside the store who is in a position of power, and yeah, I guess enjoys his or her power too much, or feels like, okay, I have nothing to say here, and there's a supplier coming, so I can finally bully someone. So they make your life a bit more difficult. And one of the things is that, okay, the entire purpose of this full service merchandising model is that you take away the work from the store, so from the store owner, from the staff of the store. So far so good, so that's the advantage. The disadvantage is that they don't have control over it. So you can show, look, this is what I'm going to put in, and before there's a complete procedure you can set up, and but mostly it comes down to trust, because yeah, like I said, I noted down, like, this is what I put in, but yeah, if nobody saw you do it, did it happen? That is basically the entire problem. So sometimes you have people that are just very difficult to trust other people, and maybe also for a good reason, because in this business it is also very easy to be, how you say this, like dishonest, and there's a lot of examples of companies that I've come across that supply supermarkets that really live off these opportunities, apparently, to shortchange they have a couple of boxes that were on the invoice, but actually were never supplied. That sort of thing. I've always, I'm not saying like this to seem like a Boy Scout here, but for me, this is about a relationship. So if you say I am, being very short term about it, then this is not a good model. I'm just buying, selling tomorrow. I don't care whether these people buy from me or not. Then don't do this. That is what I'm trying to say, because this is about building trust, building relationships. So I've always reasoned in the sense, when I had my own brand in the market, where, okay, if it is me or my customer is always king, is always more important. So if it costs me something, but my customer is happy, I'm also fine with it. Not to the extreme. You also have customers you might don't want, but I mean, if there is a dispute, hey, this is not what I think is right, and you can't, corroborate it with evidence, with proof, or someone very persistent about it, or wants to return something way after, he's already paid for it, and had stuff somewhere in the back of his stock room that he forgot about, even though it's his responsibility. Now, I just took it back, because that's the thing that you need to keep in mind. That can also be a disadvantage, namely because it's also expensive. It costs. So disputes over shrinkage, meaning, hey, there is much more product, yeah, gone from the shelf than you supplied. So there's a very interesting example. I've had this discussion once with a store where my guy, was one of my salespeople, actually was going to this store, and he said, "Oh, Alex, there is yeah, they're complaining that the sales numbers are not matching the invoices that we sent." I said, "Okay, that is very weird. So, okay, let me do that. The next 2 3 times, let me go there myself and do it, because the only way to find out is if you find the evidence." So, spoke to the manager. Initially, I thought, maybe he just has wrong data or something like that. But he really could show me that there is a problem with. It was a coffee, very expensive type of coffee that we were merchandising, and yeah, I can imagine if you had that type of coffee, that one or two missing was already quite an expensive loss for him. So, okay, is it still worth it to sell this product in the store? Now, the problem with that product was that it was also very notorious for thieves. So it's very easy to stick inside your clothes, or just shoplifting, basically shoplifters who did that. And we could not figure out, because on our side we could show, like, look, this is what I brought, this is what I put in, and then so these 2 times that I did it, I also said, look, this is exactly, I counted with him, I went in, this is what I'm going to put in, and then the next 2 times he was actually still having the same problem. So the same problem that, oh, see, you put this in, but I only sold this. This and display was always full. That was the thing. So that was actually quite interesting for us to come across. And the only plausible explanation was, yeah, it was shrinkage. So really thieves that were taking the product from the store when we supplied. So not our fault, not his fault, but yeah, in essence, the maybe the store security was lacking at that time. So that is one of the things that you can have a big discussion about, where you are more or less powerless. Especially in a consignment model, you are the one picking up the tab, because if the product is gone, and consignment model means it's your property until it's sold, meaning if it doesn't pass the scanner at the cashier, they will not pay for it, and it's never been in the store. It's never been, never been sold. So the shrinkage is all your responsibility. So for your account. So that's one of the disadvantages that I came across. It's a minor inconvenience because there's maybe one or two people that are just very difficult, or one or two examples where you say, okay, if I have a product that is quite bulky and not that expensive, then the shrinkage will be very very small, maybe limited to something damaged, or maybe the one time someone forgets to scan something at the self scan aisle in the in the supermarket. But I mean, points is like, yeah, this can be, if you have abrasive personalities in supermarkets or retailers, yeah, then that can be a problem. But again, will these people stay your customer for a long time? And I've been on the receiving end of a couple of these people who were just very distrusting of my people, of myself, basically, because they don't know you, then or they just distrust everybody that comes into supply something, which is maybe also for a good reason. Where someone asked me, "Oh, who is checking what you're putting in?" I said, yeah, no, nobody, because this is the agreement that we made. So I said, okay, so if you want to do it yourself, I'm also happy to just drop the boxes at the back door and, supply it on a regular PO. But then the discussion was quickly over because he still wanted us to do the work. So in the end, this was one of the things that I just wanted to point out, where, yeah, it's not all fun and games. You can always have people that are a little bit more abrasive, and yeah, disputes can arise. And yeah, of course, more administration. So you have a lot of things, especially consignment model is a headache. I really have done consignment quite a lot in my life, but I wouldn't recommend anyone to start with consignment if you can avoid it. Just think about it. Consignment is, I put something in your store until it's sold. It's my responsibility, rather than you sell something to someone and say, I take it back if it's not sold. So meaning like, okay, it's a very neat invoice. I'm selling it and it's returnable. Problem with that is that if they don't know you, or they don't, your company is very small or new, yeah, they think maybe you sell it to me on sale or return, and then you're gone when I have a problem. So you need to build that trust also. It's not as easy as it sounds, but I mean, consignment is just a headache because, yeah, it's more administration, and it's just prone to, cost you money because there might be a problem with, numbers that are not adding up in a way that makes sense for you. More administration also is for the retailers. So retailers also, yeah, sometimes they just don't like the full service merchandising model. Like I said, in Asia, you have a good reason that there is a big trust issue. There are just some people who just don't trust anyone, really very transactional in their way of doing things. Now, that is also one of the things. Not every retailer likes uncontrolled merchandisers in their store, and to actually run around and refill shelves, and then yeah might be on the wrong end of of the equation with whether they make money or not. With regards to supermarkets, you have to imagine that maybe the entire profit margin for the supermarket at the bottom end, after everything is gone, is maybe only 2%, maybe 3. So yeah, they really need to control this very much. All the shrinkage is also one of the things, and yeah, yeah, one of the things is also suppliers not being honest. That is one of the things that is really bugging them. It's a small thing, but I mean, yeah, you have to put yourself in the position of the supermarket manager or the entrepreneur who is owning a supermarket. That, you know, just because you think it's a good idea, they might see some problems with it because, yeah, they just don't trust anyone who walks in off the street and offers them a good deal, basically. So that's one of the things you need to build this trust. So put yourself in a position of someone who is on the other end of the table. So if you do this right, it can really pay off. That is, I think, the biggest message I want to give you. Also, in markets where maybe it's not common, if you actually are making it a common, yeah, common thing, so you are introducing it to markets where normally this full service merchandising concept is not yet there. If you have problems with on shelf availability or out of stock, that could be a solution to actually move to this model. Thing is also that there are several companies that do this not only on a brand or product level, they do this in concepts. So I used to distribute for a company that, for example, had an American concept. So they had all imported products from America for the Netherlands. So you have like varieties of soft drinks that were only available in America, varieties of snacks, candy, and all those things. So this was, a novelty. Later on, if those things start selling well enough, there are enough importers who might, or the supermarket chain might decide to just list it, find a source themselves rather than that. But normally it was a bit like, okay, for this store, there are maybe a lot of, children from primary or high school that were really looking for things that were not normally available in the supermarket, and they would add some of these things, modular things that these supermarkets would implement. So this is one of the things that worked very well. So you have concepts that it's mainly like if you look at a supermarket, you can't put everything in a supermarket. So you have to imagine that supermarkets are very much a reflection of who shops there. If you, let's say, you don't have kids in your store, why would you stock kids products? No mothers with babies, then why would you stock diapers? It's just shelf space. You could put something else, which people do want. This is always the search, the challenge for supermarket owners to actually have a selection of products that fits with the target demographic. And having said that, yeah, in Asia it's less sophisticated. I have to say, maybe the choices are less, or maybe the supply chain is a little bit more rigid with regards to the large supermarkets. So independent retailers also are doing better there on average than chains. Chains are of course big and have a lot of buying power, but I mean, for A brands, they are doing quite well. But if you look at a more customized approach, okay, this is what my customers want. There is, independent retailers are stronger there. Here in the Netherlands and most of Europe actually have this concept where larger chains actually have at store level, even if it's not a franchise store, but a wholly owned store by the supermarket chain, they have this freedom to add modules. So, meaning like the standard assortment of the supermarket is this, and if you live in an area where there are a lot of kids, maybe you want to add this. If they're in an area where you have a lot of people, let's say from the Middle East, it could be a lot of migrants from the Middle East, then of course these people are looking for food that comes from their home country. So it might be beneficial for you to add this module to your store, and you sacrifice something else because you can't put in everything. But I mean, because the idea is actually, rather than these people looking for these items from specialty stores around them, they go to your store. They have a one-stop shop experience where they also do their groceries in your store. So it's more like pulling in the customer with this complete service. We have everything. We have the complete concept basically. this is one of the things that thinking in concepts. The company I just mentioned, they were quite successful with this. They had the concepts for Polish food, which is yeah, a lot of people from Poland also live and work in the Netherlands. Indeed, Middle Eastern foods, or yeah, basically various cuisines, was more like an amalgamation of various things that in various markets, not a very yeah, uniformal sort of offering. So American, they had a couple of other things like vegan. You had a complete gluten-free concept. So all these things were for specific target audience. If you have a lot of customers with these preferences, yeah, supermarkets would like to have that, because the only thing a supermarket owner or a supermarket manager or organization is thinking about: how do I get traffic to my stores? So there are a lot of supermarkets in the area that serve a similar overlapping customer groups. They're also fighting it. So I need to distinguish myself. So otherwise, this one is red, this one is blue. The only thing is that this one is red and this one is a blue cashier, and the rest of the store is the same. Yeah, then why would you have to choose? So that's just the most convenient one or the cheapest one, or so price, assortment, and yeah, all this sort of stuff. Basically, concepts that fit with the target audience are very important. So customization is a very big thing, and yeah, for me, it also was a regional concept. So you have a couple of companies that specialize in that. So they have a regional concept that they are doing on full service merchandising. So there's someone coming there, and they have, let's say, beer, they have honey, they have preserves, they have cookies, all from regional bakeries and regional producers, basically. And it's one concept that people who would like to have something from this province, usually very small scale, because yeah, it's regional, therefore you can't really scale it outside of the region. Other regions have the same thing, but then for their region. So this is one of the things also with the concept, where if your product fits into that category, you can also piggyback on one of these distributors. So these are, regional delicacy, yeah, companies that also do this with regards to, yeah, doing the various concepts that they are doing on full service merchandising. Then, if you play your cards right, also the distribution is always maximized, so you never have out of stock, or hardly have out of stock. You can make sure that you scale the number of facings that you need to scale, so there is no empty space in the shelf. Fast moving items you make a bit bigger, slow moving items you make a bit smaller. So distribution is really maximized in that sense, and you have this fixed cycle. So sometimes it can also be a downside, because in the end you have if sales are slow. Let's say holidays. Not every uh, town is actually in a holiday zone, basically, and yeah, that can also mean that everybody's out of town. Therefore, supermarkets have lower sales that month, and or that week, and the week you're coming, yeah, then they might not have sold that much. There's also very seasonal, like when you look at certain types of products sell better in the winter, some of them better in the summer, and yeah, that's one of the things that they have it in the store 365 days a year. But the peak, yeah, you need to maybe increase your frequency of visiting a little bit in the months that are more suitable for that product. And one of the things I really liked very much was actually you could see immediate reactions to competitor activity. So you could see like, hey, there is another company that is doing a promotion, or there is. They would actually tell me next week your competitor is coming here and also placing something there. Now then you could do something to preempt it. You could already agree on a promotion to take the wind out of their sails, and uh, make sure your product doesn't suffer, at least. So at least you can even the playing field a little bit. And in some cases, these are very big brands that you can't maybe do much against, but it's good to know, and immediate reaction to competitive activity. You can manage it. You can also say, okay, then maybe I extend my my call cycle to your store by another week, or we skip one cycle because there's no way that this will be leading to a lot of sales because the competitor is doing something very heavily. Now, that's one of those things that you need to see with regards to immediate reactions to competitor activity are possible. So that is actually one of the things I wanted to also add to this. So I've basically seen this work very well for various companies with regards to full service merchandising concepts. If you can manage the cost, so the cost is a very important thing because time is especially one of the things that parking. If you have an outlet in a mall, like in Indonesia, for example, I've seen a lot of the supermarkets are in the mall, so you need to park, you need to get your simply they are maybe not like designed for this sort of thing. These are just the systems might not be suitable for full service merchandising yet. But I mean, there are markets where this is a very common thing. Like in the US, also you have these convenience store routes, basically, where in essence you have guys with a van who just drive past small stores, convenience stores, and then what do you need today? Do you need some chewing gum? Do you need some chocolate? Do you need some cigarettes and all those things? So all these things are distributed by these convenience store retailers, and just therefore also supplied by convenience store distributors. So this is one of the things that these smaller outlets, they might seem like, oh, the quantity is not so big, but if you add them all together, that can be quite a big thing, especially also if you have like route sales, meaning route sales is this convenience store thing where if you sell a little bit in 10 outlets, but these 10 outlets are all linked together in the route, it can still be a very profitable route for itself, even if the total quantity of these outlets is, per outlet is not that big. So one of those things is like to build your distribution. Its availability is also one of the things that is very important for the marketing. So to see your brand everywhere, um, have a logo. Okay, so where can I buy it? Now, that is one of the things that the question is answered by something like this. Um, Full service merchandising is, like I said, an expensive and cumbersome thing if you do it wrong. If you do it right and you manage it right and you manage the cost right, and like I said, you play around a bit with, okay, maybe we skip a cycle. My salesman is better going somewhere else. That is one of the things that makes the difference between being plus, being minus. These are the things that I think make a big impact, and it can be in addition, to normal PO replenishment. If you say full service merchandising in addition to POs, so you get the product that and they are just ordering for regular shelving, or you have an off location display that you are replenishing. That is all possible. And in order to make sure that you build up your brand, I would say, if you still have from a very small base, I would strongly advise to consider full service merchandising, because especially in Europe and the US, I think there are a lot of retailers receptive to this because it saves them so much headache and so much cost. And like I said, you have this advantage to build your brand on the fly. So I hope you're still awake. It was quite a long video this time about a relatively simple topic, but we have some more complicated topics and some simple topics, basically. If you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you don't, please then don't. And I definitely hope it was interesting enough for you to also check out my next video. Thank you. Bye bye.